You know, car enthusiasts not only collect cars, many collect parts like hood ornaments, hubcaps, and emblems. But there is also a select group I have found that collect license plates. We are going to talk today about those identifying plates and a collector that I have found today on My Ride Garage. You know, license plates have been around for longer than there have been automobiles. France was the first country to introduce the license plates, followed by Germany. In the United States, New York required its plates since 1903, after first requiring in 1901 that only the owner's initials be clearly visible on the back of the vehicle. At first, plates were not government issued and motorists had to make their own. You know, the earliest plates were made of porcelain, baked onto iron or ceramic, or with no backing, which made them fragile. Few of these early plates survived. Later experimental materials included cardboard, leather, plastic, and during wartime shortages, they even made plates out of copper and pressed soybeans. I'm with Al Erdman of Monroe, who has a vast collection of license plates. Al, thank you for joining me today. This is absolutely remarkable. Tell me, when did you start collecting these license plates?
In 1958 over in Pike County, PA, my uncle had a boarding house and I found a 1958 Ohio plate.
Uh-huh.
And he asked me if I'd ever think we'd all get all 48 at that time.
Oh my gosh.
And it took me about 5 years at that time. And finally my high school coach, who came from Western Canada, traveled out west through Montana and got my 48th state.
Wow.
I had already had a Hawaii and a Alaska plate because my aunt and uncle had military friends at the time.
Uh-huh.
So actually Montana was my 50th state.
Oh, for God's sake. So that's how you started off, by collecting the 50 states.
In those days we hung them in the barn.
Uh-huh. How many here do you have in this collection here?
Yeah, it's probably 500 or 600 mounted in my family room here.
Uh-huh.
But I have close to 10,000
Oh my gosh.
socked away in milk crates. Everybody, license plate collectors, love milk crates.
Oh, I bet they do. That's a great way to store them. So tell me, which one is your oldest or your rarest or, you know, the most valuable?
In terms of rarity,
Oh my God, look at this. A unforeseen wall.
as you spoke of your interview there about the original plates
Uh-huh.
were issued not by the state, by the individual.
Uh-huh.
They just took the number and they went to the shoemaker, to the blacksmith,
Right.
to the hardware store and got house numbers. So those three of my, what we call pre-states, they're probably the rarest and most valuable plate in my collection.
And the one with the 15153, that's iron? Were you
That's
telling me
cast
that's iron?
iron, yeah.
Cast iron. And then
The 22,001 is leather, house numbers on a leather pad.
it is.
And the 35,000 series is an etched brass plate.
So that leather one is like somebody homemade that one, or?
Yes, all three of those were homemade.
Homemade. Now I talked about the little history there about soybean made ones, and you have one.
Illinois was probably the most popular state to do it, but several other Midwestern states did that. Over on this wall here I have mostly Europe.
And you also have, I understand, some rare ones from Cuba.
Yes.
I guess that's kind of a fortunate thing. Not many people get those types of license plates.
Mother's best friend was from Cuba, and she got out during the Castro era there, and she smuggled 3 plates out.
Right. Now you talk about your club, which is the Automobile License Plate Collectors Association.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that club. I never heard of that. Tell me about that. Have they been around like a long time?
They were organized back in the early 50s, and at the time there was probably only a couple of dozen guys that collected plates.
Now I know you have not only car license plates, you have motorcycle license plates, but you also have truck license plates that really hold a very interesting feature about those.
In the 50s and the 60s, if you remember over the road truckers, the long haul truckers, they'd have 25 license plates across the front bumper of their state.
Huh.
Because each state wanted a slice of the pie.
Oh my gosh.
Until they finally got wise and they came up with the reciprocity system now where the plate is registered to the home state or the home domain of that company. and everybody gets a slice of the pie. But I have a little display of that outside there just to give them a little respect.
Yeah, this is a great collection. I'm so glad you got a hold of me, Al. It was very great talking to you today.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you. Folks, you can find the Automobile License Plate Collectors Association on Facebook or by going to alpca.org. Now, license plates, or vanity plates as we like to call them these days, also have a place in automobile history, as we have found out. Who knows, one day they too may be replaced by the digital world, but for now it's an identity and an example of a personality with the names and short sayings that some of them have on them. States even use them to advertise for tourism. They have been an overlooked detail on a car until now. Until next time, this is Donna Kessler from My Ride Garage.